All right, folks, grab your cuppers, grab your teas. We're going to be doing a pre-match preview for Burnley versus Newcastle at Turf Moor this Saturday. And we're going to get right into it. It's your man, Philip, Toon Tactics TV. Make sure to like and subscribe. Let's get right into this. So, what's on the line? You guys would have seen in the thumbnail. There is no room for error. There is no room for error. No room for error for Burnley if they want to avoid relegation. I can't remember if they're mathematically possible if they lose this game, but whatever it is, if they lose this game, they are really staring down the barrel. So they're going to be putting every ounce of effort into this game, but it might make them a little bit nervy if things aren't going their way. For Newcastle, as you guys know, we're chasing that European spot. Is it the Europa Conference? Is it the Europa League? Could we finish fifth even? Maybe that's even a real dream right there. I certainly hope we can get the Europa League. I'm aiming personally that we get to that 60-point mark. That will be a good tally, only 11 points worse off last season, and probably a reflection of where the impact of the injuries that have had on us. But that's what's on the line. Let's go straight to the form of both teams for Burnley and for Newcastle United. And let me make sure I add it on the screen that you guys can see. Here we go, here we go, here we go. So it is no surprise to any Newcastle United fan if we look at our away form in particular, as you guys, big up to whoscored.com. This is from whoscored.com. That our away form is particularly sketchy. This is over the last 6 games. No draws at all, just wins or losses. Great win against Villa away, 3-1. Great win again against Nottingham Forest, 3-2. Followed up by a loss to Arsenal at 4-1 and losses to Chelsea, which is, I really was disappointed in that game, 3-2 at Chelsea. And obviously a 1-0 victory at Fulham, and then a crushing defeat at Crystal Palace, which was a 2-0 loss. And the Crystal Palace game, in my view, we were 12 days out. They hadn't played for 12 days. We weren't in our rhythm, but at the same time, in fact, even more so, all credit to Crystal Palace. They really pressed us and were aggressive, and they won the game in the end, obviously, deservedly so. Now, Burnley's home form. Burnley have managed to stay. And by the way, in terms of just going back quickly to Newcastle's home form, in terms of goals scored in the last 6 games, we've scored 10. We've scored 10 and conceded 12, which lets you know where the problems really lie in terms of defensively for Newcastle United. Now, going to Burnley, we're still going to be focusing on Burnley's home form. They're the team that are at home. They somewhat have stabilized for a team that's fighting relegation. They've got a lot more draws, commendable draws, as you guys can see. 2-2 Fulham, 1-1 Wolves, 1-1 Brighton, a great victory over Brentford, and losses to Bournemouth, who are in great form, and Arsenal, who are league contenders. So there is nothing for them to be ashamed of in that particular area. So Burnley are doing fantastically well in terms of at home, and they're going to want to get another victory if they can in the fight for their relegation hopes. So let's go right to the tactics. Let's share the screen. Big up to Elite Football. I'm using their ad on YouTube, as you guys can see. Let me zoom it out. How does it look? Fantastic. Really good. So Burnley, if you guys don't know, Burnley have a traditional 4-4-2 formation, which isn't as popular as it has been, but it's the classic formation in football. As you know, Arsene Wenger loves it because it very much covers most of the field pitch at any time. So it was his go-to formation, and it is Vincent Kompany's go-to formation as well. We're going to find out a little bit more why as we're talking through this. We're going to talk about at different stages. So it's going to be Vincent Kompany's 4-4-2 formation versus Eddie Howe's 4-3-3. We know that it's not as simple as that. Eddie Howe does tweak his formation a little bit, how it looks in possession, out of possession, and Vincent Kompany exactly the same. So this is the Newcastle. You can imagine are here in the light blue. This is the 4-3-3, and Burnley are represented here in the dark blue 4-4-2. So this is what it looks like when Newcastle in the light blue are playing from out the back. And what advantages Newcastle? Well, we're going to talk about the advantages, the benefits of having the 4-3-3. Burnley are going to be pressing up. Will be pressing up, as you guys can see in the dark blue. There are two forwards. Two forwards that are going to be doing most of the pressing. And it makes more sense for Newcastle to really start off in a much the fullbacks, i.e. Burn and Fabian Schär, who we don't know what Fabian's going to be playing. Obviously, I think he went off injured in the previous game. It might be Kraft, so this is going to be even more difficult. As you can see, the fullbacks are right back, are really have to drop in a lot more deeper. You see our wing backs, and I want to start off as well in terms of the theme. This is the game for Livramento and Hall, and you guys will see, because our wing backs, Livramento and Hall, are going to be absolutely central to how we play, because Burnley's 4-4-2 is very condensed, very compact. Their main aim is to take hold of the midfield and try to dominate the midfield. They keep a mid-block in order to break down attacks and be able to, and it's not far for them to get to the goal line, to get to the goal as soon as possible. So Newcastle is going to have to stretch the play. And as you guys can see, our centre backs, in terms of picking up the ball from playing out from the back, get right up close to the goalkeeper. Our full backs, as you can see, number 2 here on the right will be, if you can imagine, will be Lewis Hall. On the other side, it'll be Livramento spread out. So the two forwards that are going to be pressing against us, against the forwards, have to have more ground to cover. And then you can also see our left wing forwards and right wing forward probably in the shape of Gordon and Murphy, I think, in this game. Barnes, I think, may start on the bench as well, but it might be a surprise. I hope Barnes starts. I'm going to say it's Barnes as a number 7 there. Spread the play whilst our midfield in Bruno, Longstaff, and Anderson and Isak will have to be in the center contending, and obviously they're outnumbered as you guys can see. Stretching of the play, it will be Lewis Hall, Livramento picking up the ball, making sure that we can, as you can see, that we dominate the wings and push the ball up. As you can see, Dubravka to Lewis Hall in this occasion, spreading it over to Dubravka to Dan Burn or Fabian Schär on this occasion, who'll be spreading it to Lewis Hall, and that's part of the advantage there. And already it allows us to push the ball up the field. The next thing, and let me again forward this together, is, can I get this off? Oh, here we go. The next thing would be, in another way, is if we push up, even if the centre backs pushed up a bit, again playing out from the back, our 2 wing backs in Livramento or Hall will push down, and this is the advantage we have over those forwards and even the central forwards as they come to press the ball, that we can take the ball out in the wide areas, and that's where it will be. And again, their central midfielders would have to take that ball on. You'll see the number 4 will be obviously Bruno Gomes. They could also just get the ball. They could also sort of get Fabian Schär, for instance, on the ball here, has the option of either giving it to Lewis Hall or spreading it the other side to Livramento, or giving it off to Bruno Gomes, who we know is highly press resistant. If he fancies himself against the number 10, who I would say I think might be Sanderberg, commit Sanderberg, again taking off taking off at least one player from their central midfield and taking away some of that dominance, and then he can turn Sanderberg and spread it over either to Hall or to Barnes on the other side. And again, they're trying to dominate, spread the play, and get the ball up the field. So that's one advantage that Newcastle have in terms of the 4-3-3. So what do Newcastle look like when we're pressing? When we're actually pressing. So let's forward it on. Here we go. So Newcastle this time have the ball. Burnley are defending. You can see that the central space is really condensed. It's going to be very difficult for Newcastle to get through that middle. So what happens again? What happens is this time we go into a back three as we usually do when we're pressing and we're condensing teams with Burn, Fabian Shaw, and Livramento on this occasion tucking in. And the number 3 is going to be Lewis Hall inverting and joining Bruno Gomes and adding that extra layer of protection for the fullback. So if we lose the ball and Burnley get the ball, and what would happen, Burnley will get the ball and try to get it off to their forwards. Their number 10, 8, and 7 will try to also catch us on the counter. So having that extra layer of support with Bruno and Lewis Hall in front of our fullbacks will help with that. But also, those guys are highly competent on the ball, are press resistant. Bruno Gomes, one of the most press resistant players in the Premier League, will also help us to spread the ball. But you can see also how high up our left wing forward and our right wing forward in Barnes and Barnes and Gordon are. And the aim of the game will be to try to isolate the Burnley fullback as quick as possible. So the switch of play from Hall, from Bruno Gomes is going to be absolutely vital. How quickly can we spread the play onto those guys? But even when we get those balls, Longstaff and Anderson have to make runs in those boxes. But because, again, this is where the 4-4-2 really comes into play, because they got that central, you'll have the 7s following the 10, you'll have the 8 following the 8, and it'll be really condensed in that midfield. So the ability for Newcastle to get a hold of the ball, to recycle the ball, to get it up, the importance of Lewis Hall inverting and helping us take the dominion over that central spot will be really vital. So this is what it would look like, I think, in this game. And I think Lewis Hall, as I spoke earlier, is going to play a vital role in this game. So what would Newcastle look when we're in a defensive shape against Burnley? So let's fast forward it to our defensive shape. As you can imagine, we defend from attack. So this is Newcastle essentially pressing, and I think it'll be a super high press. Burnley this time are playing the ball out from the back, and with a 4-4-2, you'll have their centre backs pushing back. There'll be ball playing centre backs, as is company style. This is what it is as accustomed to coming from a Pep Guardiola system. The key here will be for Newcastle to be able to prevent their central midfield, Burnley central midfield, from getting on the ball. So this time you can see our 2 centre back from the back will be Fabian Shaw and Burn against their forwards, and you'll see Bruno tucking in with the number 10. And again, the key components, you're going to see Hall number 3 pushing up. You're going to see Livramento number 2 pushing up, and being ready to clamp down on Burnley's fullbacks should they get the ball. Obviously, those fullback, the channels, Gordon and Barnes are going to be trying to block off those channels. But should they get the ball, the wing backs, both Hall and Livramento, are going to be key in blocking those off. Obviously, Anderson, Longstaff, Isak are going to play a core vital role in blocking off any channels, any passings into the midfield. Isak's going to be doing a lot of running, harassing their midfield, their forwards as well. And what the hope is, as you guys can see from this, is that Burnley are going to be forced to those centre backs are not going to have any options, and as they're kind of not being able to pass to anyone, we press even higher. You'll see Livramento and Hall pushing up. You're going to see Longstaff and Anderson pushing up. You're going to see Isak blocking even now right in front of their number 4 totally. You're going to see Gordon and Barnes, who have found me absolutely exceptional, pushing up. And We're getting better in terms of winning the ball in the final third. Obviously, we dropped off a bit with our energy, but now we have more players on the pitch. We're able to shift and rotate players against Sheffield United, and I think you're going to see more and more of this. I think Eddie Howe is going to take a super high pressing, aggressive approach in this game against Burnley. He's going to back his players to win the ball high up against Burnley. Now, in a mid block, I think this is going to be part of the key, and it's not going to look that much incredible when I show it to you. I think this is how the game would likely be in its natural state. If you look at, if you guys go on whoscored.com and you see where primarily a lot of the action is in the Burnley games, it's in the central midfield. It's in a lot of games like that as well. So it's going to be a mid block. They're going to be in the mid block. We're going to be in the mid block. But I think when Newcastle are in the mid block, they shift back into a 4-5-1. So and part of the reason is to maintain that midfield dominance that Burnley try to establish when they're there. So you'll see Livramento who jump back with Fabian and with Burn. You're going to see our three central midfielders in Anderson, Longstaff, and Bruno tucking in together, being a lot more close together. And you're probably going to see, depending on what side the ball is, you're either going to see Gordon tucking in, ensuring that their fullbacks, Burnley fullbacks, aren't able to get the ball up into their central midfield players, and also supporting our fullbacks. Or if the ball is spread to the other way, you're going to see Barnes tucking in and ensuring that Burnley again can't get the ball off onto their midfield or trying to attack our side. So you guys can see the ball shifting left and right, and as you guys can see, the ball is on this side. The ball has progressed to the number 3, and again on this side it'll be Barnes. He'll be addressing their fullback, and whilst it'll be Livramento on the other side, ensuring that the ball doesn't get over to their forward there. And I think it'll be a real midfield battle, which I back Newcastle to win. We've been playing better than Burnley. We're the bigger side, although whoscored.com got them. I have to see that, but I think we're the stronger side athletically and on the ball. And I think Howe's going to take a very aggressive stance in terms of this game. So that's how tactically the game is going to be seen. I'm going to go straight back up in terms of the predicted lineup before ending the show on the conclusion and on the score prediction. So whoscored.com, excuse me, folks, whoscored.com I believe that Shah will play, which is interesting, which is good to see. I hope he does as well. If Kraft plays, it does change things a bit. And Hall and Remento also start. Barnes starts, which I agree with. I hope that he starts rather than Murphy. I think the best form of attack, the best form of defense will be attacking this game. And I think with the rhythm of beating Sheffield United 5-1, there'll be a third game since the kind of the 12-day break. I think with a thicker bench, I think Joe Linton's going to be on the bench. Callum Wilson will be on the bench. Murphy or Barnes will be on the bench. I think Eddie Howe is really going to go for it. I was going to give a 2-1 prediction as whoscored.com is, but as I'm talking to you guys, I'm fancying this. And I think Newcastle Newcastle will be aggressive, and I think they will go for it in these final 5 games. So I back Newcastle to win this game 4-1 with Isak, Gordon and Barnes probably doing a lot of goal contributions to that. But I also back Livramento and Hall to be very imperative, to be key in this game, to possibly get some GA between themselves, some goals and assists as well. And I back Newcastle to win this game 4-1. But folks, let me know what you think. How do you think this game's going to play out? Am I too ambitious in my scoreline? Is the fact that Burnley are fighting for their lives in the Premier League gonna be the main key factor here? Let me know. Send in your comments. And until next time, guys, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, guys, take care and God bless, folks.